Hey everyone, welcome back to our series on the life of Marshall Mathers. Last time, we talked about his tumultuous birth and early childhood. Today, we're diving deeper into a shadow that has loomed over his entire life, the vanishing father. This isn't just a story about an absent parent. It's about a wound that fueled some of the most powerful and raw music of a generation. So, who was Marshall Bruce Mathers Jr., the man who gave Eminem his name, but little else? He was born in 1951 and met Eminem's mother, Debbie, when she was just 15. He was a charismatic local musician, playing in a band called Daddy Warbucks that had some regional success. They even opened for Joe Walsh once. To a young Debbie, he was everything. They married quickly, and soon after, Marshall III was born. But the dream didn't last. Just a few months into his son's life, Bruce packed his bags and left. He moved to California with two of his other children, chasing a new life and leaving a young mother and her infant son behind in Missouri. For years, this was the narrative, a father who simply walked away. But as with everything in this story, it's more complicated. According to Bruce's side of the family, the split was messy. They claimed Debbie was the one who left after an argument, taking the baby with her. Bruce's sister, Betty, has said that he tried to find them, but Debbie constantly moved, making it impossible. He reportedly even called Debbie's mother, who told him to stay away and that Debbie didn't want anything to do with him. So, did he abandon his son, or was he pushed away? The truth is probably somewhere in the murky middle, lost to time and conflicting memories. What we know for sure is the profound impact this absence had on young Marshall. Growing up, he knew nothing about his father except for a single photograph. He was the man in the picture, a ghost in his own life story. As a child, all he wanted was to connect. He wrote letter after letter, pouring his heart out onto the page, hoping for a response. He'd ask simple questions. How are you? What are you doing? He'd include his return address, a hopeful plea for a letter back. But the letters always came back, a stamp returned to sender. Imagine being a little boy, running to the mailbox every day, only to be met with that same crushing rejection, over and over again. This constant feeling of being unwanted became a core part of his identity. It was a deep, gnawing emptiness. He saw other kids with their dads, playing catch, getting advice, and he felt that void even more keenly. It wasn't just about not having a father figure. It was about the explicit rejection from the one person who was supposed to be there. In his young mind, the question wasn't just where is my dad, but why doesn't he want me? What's wrong with me? This sense of worthlessness, this feeling of being disposable, would become a powerful, destructive, and ultimately creative force in his life. This pain didn't stay internal. It manifested as anger, a deep, simmering rage that would later explode in his music. You can hear it in early songs. The raw fury of a son screaming into the void. In his lyrics, he created a caricature of his father, a deadbeat, a stranger, a man he wished he'd never known. This was his way of coping, of turning the pain into power. By controlling the narrative in his music, he could finally have a voice in a situation where he had none. He could be the one to reject his father instead of the other way around. As Eminem's star began to rise in the late 90s, the story took a bizarre turn. Suddenly, the vanishing father reappeared. Bruce Mathers Jr. started giving interviews to tabloids, holding up photos of his famous son, and pleading for a reunion. He wrote an open letter published in a newspaper, claiming he had tried to reach out for years and that Debbie had blocked his attempts. He said he was proud of his son and just wanted to meet him, to explain his side of the story. To the public, it might have seemed like a father trying to right a wrong. But to Eminem, it was the ultimate betrayal. Where was this man when he was a poor kid in Detroit, getting beaten up and writing letters that never got answered? Now that he had money and fame, his father suddenly wanted to be a part of his life. Em saw it as a desperate, pathetic cash grab. The timing was just too perfect, too cynical. He publicly and vehemently rejected his father's attempts. He said, "I don't know the man, and I don't want to know him. The hurt was too deep, the scar too old." Forgiveness wasn't on the table. This public drama became a major theme in his masterpiece album, The Eminem Show. Songs like Cleaning Out My Closet are brutal, emotional exorcisms. He lays all the pain bare for the world. He raps about the returned letters, the feelings of abandonment. In his disgust at his father's sudden reappearance, he famously says, "I wonder if he even kissed me goodbye. No, I don't. On second thought, I just fucking wished he would die." It's a shocking, visceral line, but it captures the depth of the rage and hurt he felt. He was taking the narrative back, once and for all, on the world's biggest stage. The story has a sad, unresolved ending. Bruce Mathers Jr. continued to occasionally speak to the press, always maintaining that he loved his son and wanted to connect. But that connection never happened. In 2019, Bruce died from a heart attack at the age of 67. Eminem never saw him. He never got the answers he might have once craved, and he never offered the forgiveness his father sought. The door closed forever. When you listen to Eminem's music, especially his early work, you're not just hearing clever rhymes and catchy beats. You're hearing the diary of a boy who was left behind. The anger, the vulnerability, the desperate need for validation, it all stems from this foundational wound. The Vanishing Father is more than just a character in his songs. He's the ghost that haunts the entire machine. His absence created a void that Marshall Mathers would spend his entire life trying to fill. First with letters, then with rage, and finally, with a legacy that would make him impossible to ignore. It's a tragic story, but without it, the artist we know as Eminem might never have existed. Thanks for watching. The story of Marshall's foundation is far from over. Next time, we'll explore his relationship with his mother, Debbie, a bond that was just as complicated and influential as the absence of his father. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss it. See you in the next one.